to Warp Zone, a podcast on sci-fi, philosophy, religion, politics, gaming, and anything else taboo. Tabby, cat, ooh, that I can see on the camera. Yeah. I am Ben Banasik.
Yes, I'm Tara Smith.
Holding the smallest jar of honey in the world that you're going to bring to me. Wait, Jodie wanted a big jar of honey, and Tara is going to produce at least 1 tablespoon of honey.
We've only got the small jars left. Sorry, Ben.
It's going to be like 1 piece of toast per jar.
Just more like sample size.
I often wonder, when you go to like those glamorous hotels, like with conferences and stuff, like and you're in the lobby, you can't actually afford to stay in the hotel, but you're just in the lobby for the And then they've got like the tiny little condiments, like and it's all really expensive stuff, but like it's half a teaspoon of honey.
Tom used to just grab a lot of those like and keep them in the car and stuff, and that's great until like the honey sachets like burst and go everywhere. Honey
better
everywhere. Not to take them home.
It's exactly what you guys need, more honey everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
So what have you been up to?
Not much, just the same old, really boring. I've got no teaching work. I've got no distractions, just me and my PhD, and it's pretty miserable.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I really have no excuse. So I have been working on it and doing applications and writing about cybernetics and artificial intelligence, which has been fun. I kind of fell into the rabbit hole of researching cybernetic theory and how it's influenced artificial intelligence. So it's been kind of fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I'm still working on my AI chapter, but just editing it now. So
the one that was due like 3 months ago.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's
still
good.
Working on it. It's gonna be real good when it's finished, man. Real good.
Excellent.
Other than that, I went on it for a bushwalk on the weekend with Tom and his friends. Yep. I don't know where we went. Somewhere. Doesn't matter. And what else did I do? I did a fundraiser. I had a cupcake, like a woolen jumper and knit fundraiser where my friend and I were selling knitted things for Penny Marathon, the animal welfare charity that I volunteer for. So I was there for 4 or 5 hours on Sunday just selling stuff and trying to add up cash, which I'm really bad at. And I was like, all right, so if it's $3 plus 5, is like really bad at it. So I don't know why they give me that job. Like I'm just like, why are you making me in charge of the money? Like I'm terrible at this, but I'm always that person with a calculator. Like, okay, so you want this, and this, and I like have to try and use the calculator. I'm terrible at adding change. Yeah. When they give you the 50 cents to make it up, that just totally throws me. I was like, why did you give that to me? Like happens all the time. You try to work it out and then they just hand you shit and you're like, are you good at it? You must be good at it.
Fast at it now, but it's funny how some customers try to be helpful with giving you coins to make it up, but then sometimes they're not quite there. Like, if something's say $41, right? So you normally go, okay, they give you a $50 note, they'll give you a $1 coin or, a couple of silvers. I've had people go, oh yeah, here's like the $50 note and 80 cents. I'm like, well, that actually complicates things further. So how about you keep your dirty 20-cent pieces? I'll just give you.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, the worst at IGA that used to just shit me so much when I was on the registers there is when they would drop the money on the table and then you have to try and scramble and pick it up with your hand. Like they would refuse to put it in your actual hand.
Yeah. There's a group of young guys that come in, and I quite like them actually. They're quite funny. They come in and look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards all the time. And they're very like they go to John Terry local school, and there's one kid that comes in all the time with a bag of coins. I'm like, where the fuck? Where are you getting all of these coins from? And he's like, yeah, I know, because you like it so much. I'm like, no, we don't. So now this thing, like, he'll try and scrounge around coins just to pay us with coins.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. People, like, you prefer cash. Like, they assume most people prefer cash. And I'm always like, no, pay with a card, please. For the love of God.
Because then I don't need the staff to go downstairs and then deposit the money. And that's the thing. And it's a whole thing. Anyway, it's funny.
What have you been up to?
Well, been busy with the store, but I have a tale. To tell.
Ooh.
Because I could just bore you about what stock's coming in and stuff, but that doesn't actually matter. the moment. Hang on, sorry, I'm just going to close my mail app so we don't hear the dings constantly.
Yep.
Why are you still open? All right, if this closes and quits, I apologize.
This is riveting listening for everyone at home.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm closing the things and doing the things, and that's fine. Okay, cool. So a week and a half ago, I went down to Mittagong with Jody, so to meet up with a friend of ours, and I dropped off Jody to the club there, which has got a coffee shop inside it, and dropped off Isaiah and Hannah, and I had Jack with me. And Jack and I then went to Bunnings because I needed to buy some lights for the store. And I also needed to buy some paint for my centipede cabinet filler, because it needed to be filled on one section, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the paint aisle at Bunnings, and there's this older woman who was white, and she looked like a bikie. And she's quite angry, and she's waiting. I don't know if you've been to Bunnings since COVID has happened, but there's all of these like mid-aisle waiting points now. You just can't walk down the different aisles. So I'd walked down where the enamel was, and I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, that's the wrong aisle because the filler is not next to enamel. It's like 2 aisles across. So I walk up and I'm like looking around, and she's like getting really cranky, and she's like, oh, some of us don't have all day to wait, but I don't have all day to wait. Some of us do, but I don't. I need some service.
Well, I don't understand why she was waiting for you if you weren't at the register yet.
No, she's waiting at like this desk that's halfway down the paint aisle, right?
Oh, so she wasn't talking to you at that point.
She's just talking openly to anyone. I was the only one there.
Waiting for help at the paint desk. Is that what you're saying?
It's similar to a paint desk, but it's an arbitrary desk. It's a new desk. It's not the paint desk, because the paint desk is in the middle. There's these new desks which they've put in all of these aisles. So she's getting like really angry, right?
Yeah.
And I was on the phone trying to call one of my new casual staff who had not turned up for his shift yet. So I was like quite angry as well. But I was not yelling or having a go at him.
Was he sick? Was he? Did he have a cold? Like, what was wrong? Just
with
being
me?
slack. No, the kid.
Oh, him? Oh, okay. Well, that's a side thing, but he slept in. He's not going to do it ever again because he's now bullied every single day he turns up, because I'm like, oh, it's surprising to see you not asleep.
Is he like 15 or something?
No, he's like 20 odd. I'm giving him a hand because he was retrenched from his job, Westpac employee and stuff. And, so it's a temporary thing.
So to show the gratitude, he decided to sleep in on his shift.
Yeah, motherfucker, right? Yeah. So anyway, I walk around the other side of the so there's a desk, an aisle, another aisle. So I'm going like quite a way away, and I end up over the other side of where she's waiting, so we can see each other through these two desks and then the paint mixing stand thing in the middle.
So your eyes met across the paint aisles.
Yes.
It was love at first sight, right?
She then yells across and says, I need some service, and they're not going to be served before me. And this other woman goes, sorry, what did you say? Like, she was next to me. And she goes, no, not you. I don't want him to be served before me. I've been waiting here for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And I went, hang on, what? So I get off my phone. I'm like, sorry, what did you say? And she goes, I've been waiting here for ages, and I'm not having you be served before me. And I'm like, well, okay, so it's fine for her to be served before me, but not me? Like, what's the problem with me? Like, what, you don't like the look of me or something? And she says something, like I couldn't really hear it. I said, what the fuck did you say? And she goes, yeah, you're not to be served before me, but she's okay. I went, you fucking racist bitch, right? So I said that, which is not a nice thing to say. And then she said, what did you say? And I repeated it even louder. And I said, you're a fucking racist bitch, right?
Yeah. But hang on, was the other girl before you, though? Like, was she there earlier? Like, that might be why she said it, if the other...
No. She'd just come from another aisle. She was like walking. She's an innocent bystander in all of this.
Oh, I see.
We're all innocent here.
Yeah.
Except for her. So then her partner goes, "Oi, what did you say?" And I said, "I called her a fucking racist bitch." She pointed at me and said that he's not to be served before me. And then a staff member's like, "Oh, just don't worry about it. Just walk away." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I'm walking away. And I said, "Oh, I don't even need service." So then like I walk across another aisle. And then like Jack's with me and Jack's like not happy about the situation. I'm like,
Yeah,
"It's
I know. I know what Jack's like. He'd be squirming.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, Jack, sorry I spoke like that." And he goes, "No, it's fine." And I said, "Look, she's obviously got a problem, and she doesn't, like the look of me or whatever, or, she's fine with the other white person that wants to get served." And I like it. And Jack goes, "Yeah, she doesn't have a problem with me because I'm a bit more white than you, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, Jack." And then, so anyway, I find the filler finally, go to the counter, and then I'm walking out, and Jack goes, "Oh no." I'm like, "Why? What's wrong?" And he goes, "Oh, they're walking out at the same time." And I went, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine." We walk out, and she yells out to me, "The only one racist here is you're fucking wog. Go." And then he goes, "Yeah, go back to where you came from."
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. So I called it out. Like immediately. I knew that they were being like, there was no reason for her to point at me and say, "Not, don't serve him, serve me first."
Yeah.
And I went, "Hang on, like what? One, I was born here. Two, what the fuck are you guys talking about? That's so racist. You can't say that stuff." And then he says, "Yeah, just fuck off, you wog," right? And I went, "Okay, Jack, go to the car." So then I walk up to the guy, right? So we're in an impasse, like we're standing in the middle of the car park.
Yeah.
And he's a bikie, right?
Right.
A little bit older, but a bikie. And I like walk straight up to him and look him in the eye. And he goes, "What did you say?" And I said that she's fucking racist. Like, she pointed at me out of the blue saying he's not to be served. I wasn't even after being served. And then you guys say, "Go back to your own country." You can't say that stuff. That's racist. It's really bad. And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Well, have a nice day then." And then gets back in his car. I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, what the fuck has happened here?" So then I get in the car.
Weird.
Yeah. And then we drive out, and I meet up with Jodie, and Jodie's like, "What's wrong?" Because I sat down like I was a bit flustered. She goes, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh, I was just told to go back to my own country," which is a bit weird. And try to explain the situation. It doesn't make sense. All of this thing just does not make sense at all.
I would have thought if he'd been bold enough to yell at you at the car park to go back where you came from, that when you'd come up and gone close to his face, he would have punched you out or something. That it would
I
just
thought so as well. Yeah,
not de-escalate.
Yeah, afterwards I thought it was going to be escalated, but I spoke calmly. Like I was in the car park, and I spoke absolutely calmly. Like you just can't do that. It's wrong. And I'm not, for the listeners at home, if anyone does listen to this that haven't met us, which I'm not convinced. Oh, actually, no. Statistically, yes, there's people that listen to this that haven't met us. I'm olive skin, yeah, but I'm not dark. Like it's really weird, a really, really weird thing for her to do. So she obviously had a problem with, as she puts it, wogs or whatever. But yeah, really, really bizarre. Really
I love
bizarre.
that she said, "I'm not racist," and then called out, "Go back where you came from."
Yeah, the only
only
one
person, the only
racist here is you fucking
Yeah.
wog. Go back to your country.
Yeah. I'm just impressed you confronted them. I would have just probably shut up. I would have been so like annoyed and angry that I wouldn't have been able to say anything articulate.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got angry before and said stupid things back to people, so I'm getting better at being calm about it. I think maybe the shoppers actually help this. When you get irate customers and stuff, like yelling at you, you can sort of just go, "Look, you're being an idiot. It's time for you to go." And I've had to chase people down in the store. I've had to like push ice addicts off me. It's shit happens.
Yeah. It's funny that it's bubbling up though. Do you think from the Black Lives Matter stuff in America?
I think people are speaking out more about it, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that mainstream media have a lot to blame for all of this, really.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But It is what it is.
They're definitely fueling the fire, that's for sure, and seems to be making it really divisionary. Like you're either with us or against us. There's no middle path.
Oh no, I mean the mainstream media is historically fanned the flames of racism and discrimination, just openly on TV, and they go, oh, that's just Koshy and his views. Well, no, that's not right. You can't do that sort of stuff.
I watch this really funny, someone read it all the time, and there's always like videos of, either police brutality or Karens yelling at, people of color and telling them to go back to where they came from. Anyway, the one I watched the other day, and I can't remember which state it was in, but someone had written Black Lives Matters in yellow with paint that must have got approval. And it's like this big Black Lives Matter in yellow paint. And there was this sort of like couple that were wearing Trump hats were trying to paint over it in the middle of the road. So they were getting all this black paint. And they were painting over it, and like people coming out and being like, this is racist, blah blah, and they kept yelling out like couple kept yelling out stupid stuff and were clearly like retarded. But the point being, as I was sort of painting it, all they were doing was highlighting Black Lives Matters. They were just rewriting over the letters, and they didn't bring enough paint. Then they brought enough paint for the BL, and because the black was so much darker than the bitumen, all they're doing is highlighting black. Like they weren't even trying to sort of just perfectly in the lines, so they're really just like highlighting Black Lives Matters. Like they didn't realize the symbolism of painting the yellow with black paint, writing black. It's just really funny.
That's funny. It's very weird. Anyway, so that's what happened to me a week and a half ago, and I've been dying to tell you about it, but I thought it'd be best to do it on the pod.
That's a horrible story. What a horrible person.
Yeah.
Were they a young couple or old?
Nah, a little bit older. Say, like late 40s, maybe 50s. Yeah. But like, I don't take shit from people anymore like that. Like, it's just not right. I grew up with it in high school and primary school, and sort of just accepted that that's what was acceptable and okay. It's just not.
Yeah, I think it's good that you stood up to them. It's important, but it's sad that that's happening.
Yeah, well, I think it ruined their day, which is like at least a little bit of joy to me that I ruined someone's day, aside from my own being ruined. Yeah. In other news, I bought 2 arcade cabinets, or 3 arcade cabinets since we've spoken, which is great.
Oh my god, where are they all fitting in the shop?
Yeah.
Are you stacking them on top of each other yet?
No, well, it's to the point where it is almost like that. I got a quote back to get the thing moved from Queensland to here. That's expensive, eh? Like,
is it in Queensland now?
Yeah. I made my friend Danny pick it up, which is not a nice thing to do that I did, but I kind of did. I asked Danny if he could go pick it up, and I paid him for it. Like, I gave him money extra. He didn't want anything extra, but I gave him money after. Because he almost broke his back, and his wife also wants to divorce him. Now he keeps bringing stuff home. Yeah.
That's bleak.
Yeah. So I gave him money for said thing, which is nice. And I felt nice, and then he felt nice because he gets to buy lots of beers and things. But he's got this arcade cab in his house now in pieces that I need to get to Campbelltown somehow. And the normal arcade guy can do it in 3 weeks, but by that time his wife's going to be back at work. So I've put the call out there. There's these U-Move places. It's like Airtasker, but for moving things. You put up like requests, and then people grab your request and then give you a quote.
Where is it located?
It's currently in Mount Gravett.
Which is where?
I don't know.
In Sydney?
What, the cab? No, it's in Queensland.
Confused. Oh, I thought you said you paid for him to move it for you.
I haven't paid. No, I paid for him to go pick it up from another guy's house.
Oh, he's in Brisbane already, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I understand now. Yeah. I thought you meant he paid for him to come drive it from Brisbane to Sydney.
No, then I would just pay him to keep going to Campbelltown. That would be silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the podcast? I mean, the show we watched.
It sort of is a podcast, hey? But yes, let's talk about it. Can you introduce it? What is
I will.
we did?
So because we're sort of moving less for literature stuff and more on things we can watch because Ben's too busy, we decided to watch a Netflix series called The Midnight Gospel, which is a series on Netflix directed and animated by Pendleton Ward, who's the creator and animator of Adventure Time. And it's co-created with Duncan Trussell, who's a comedian and podcaster and does a pretty well-known podcast called the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, I think it's called, where he just has various guests that work in the areas of mindfulness, psychedelics, all that sort of kind of realm. It's called the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, which they describe it as a weekly salon-style super show where comedian Duncan Trussell and guests explore the outer reaches of the multiverse. It gives you a bit of a taste of what his sort of podcast is like. But anyway, the Midnight Gospel is like an animated version of the podcast. So Duncan Trussell plays Clancy, who's like who uses a simulator to sort of visit different worlds. So each episode,
it's a computer. A computer sends him to different places, which promises better worlds to go to, and is always a little bit wrong, which is quite
each
funny.
episode's a different simulation of a different planet that he visits. And he interviews people in those planets that he finds, and they're actual guests from his podcast as well. So the 2 episodes we watched were episode 4 and episode 5. The first one was with Trudy Goodman called Blinded by My End, and the 5th one was Annihilation of Joy with Jason Love. And they were 2 episodes that I chose because I quite liked them. But all of the series is really good. What I liked about it is that sometimes like I haven't really explored much of that kind of like mindfulness area, but to see it actually animated, I found it really like a lot more visually kind of attractive. And then it's actually got me to listen to the Duncan Trussell Family podcast to sort of get more understanding. And I like the way they present mindfulness, not in a really kind of like lofty, out of reach way, but in a more sort of down to earth kind of funny way, which I find a lot easier to relate. But the animation is definitely adult style. So don't expect it to be as sort of PC as Adventure Time. It's much more kind of obscene.
There's sexualization and stuff. It's
it's just weird. It's very, very weird. I mean, like it's like a kind of acid trip, and you get that vibe from it when you watch it. So episode 4, maybe we'll talk about that one first. I prefer episode 5. I don't know which one you preferred, Ben.
Well, so funny thing about that, I think I watched episode 3 and 4.
Oh no, what happened in 3?
That was hang on. Oh my god.
I've got it up. So that was Hunters Without a Home. So with an underwater planet where he crosses paths with Daryl, a student of ceremonial magic and the path to enlightenment. I think that one was good too. I mean, they're all good. Oh, so you didn't actually listen to 5. That was the best one.
No,
that's about existentialism and the annihilation of joy. Maybe we'll have to do that for another episode.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I didn't rewatch Hunters Without a Home, so you're going to have to talk about 3 because I didn't rewatch it. Didn't you go back through our messages to recheck what episodes they were?
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and then I stuffed up.
Bloody Ben.
So, Hunters Without a Home. Daniel Hoops. To get some ice cream. So it was an ice cream planet. Okay, so I know we're in religious studies and we have to be fair and balanced and have to be accepting of everyone else's views and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you say you're into Wicca and you actually believe that it's an actual an actual ancient secret religion that has been passed down for millennia, you're a dick. So it's that's what it was all about. So it was like, it kind of annoyed me. Not the graphics and not the like outer story, but the guy who's interviewing. I'm like, oh my god, shut up! Like, no. And then they're like, oh yeah, it's gone through the Cathars, and then it came to, the Rosicrucians, and then the Rosicrucians brought it to America, and then we've discovered it. But I discovered it on my own because I'm on my own journey. I'm like, oh my god, just be quiet. So that was annoying. But I like the graphics. I like the smaller like storyline. But it's funny. So he went to look for ice cream, but the computer sent him to a planet called Ice Cream. So it's like, again, kind of a little bit wrong, but kind of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one with the cats? The cats
are that's number 4. 4 has the cats. Oh no. Yeah. 4 has the ship of cats.
No. Oh yeah, it does. There's another episode where there's cats as well. I thought they were in 3. They had the fish people, but maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
I think 4.
No, 4. Oh my god, did you watch any of the right episodes? Did you watch
the
one
3 and 4? I'm looking at the things. So Meredith just against me. Mike Mayfield, Duncan Trussell, and Pendleton Ward is number 4. Trudy Goodman is the main person. Damien Eccles is number 3.
Yeah.
Who is this Damien Eccles?
Oh, just a second. But sorry, Ben. Just 1 second. Don't put it there. Show me. Don't put it. They're my peach trees. Put it up on the mountain. Have you got a ladder yet? No. Don't put it there. Wait until I tell you where to put it. Sorry. Animal Crossing. Tom's just trying to cut all my peach trees. Is bullshit. Anyway, sorry for that interruption.
No, that's okay. I'm going to leave that in. So Damien Eccles was sentenced to death. He went to prison.
Yeah.
For murdering someone as part of a satanic ritual.
Oh shit!
And then he was actually
he's come out now. Has he come out now? That's
he's out now. So then he was interviewed as part of that. So maybe I wasn't being so bad or brash to call him a dick, because if you murder someone as part of a satanic ritual, you're pretty much a dick. I think there's not much more of a dickish move you can do to then murder someone.
Yeah, that's true. From memory, that wasn't my favorite episode. That's why I did not recommend to watch that one. But the animation's really cool, and even if you don't really like the kind of mindfulness and weird spiritual stuff, you might like the animation. Blinded by My End was a lot more palatable, I think. Trudy Goodman's not as weird as Damien Eccles. Did you find that?
Yes. Yeah, she's kind of cool. She speaks really quietly, though.
Yeah, she does. She seemed really peaceful, though.
Yeah, and then, like, because there's all of this noise and stuff going on because she's on that horse, and then there's things being cut open and stuff, and it's like, and then she's like, okay, now let's go. Like, what did she say? So
no, she seemed like peaceful, and what I really like about all the interviews is you do get that there's a lot of rapport between Duncan and his interviewee. Like, they're really engaging and chatting, and they seem to have a lot of affection for each other, which I think is really nice. Yeah. And so Blinded by My End is sort of set in like, so how does it start? He starts off by trying to go to this sort of sex planet where everybody's like practicing orgies and stuff, and the simulator makes up a kind of play suit for him and everything to get him ready, and he ends up going there but gets diverted into a planet of like orcs and magic and darkness and stuff, and he meets Trudy's character, which I think her name's Trudy as well.
The whole point, so hang on, so the computer says at the beginning, you can go to a planet where you can experience everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's the key. You can experience everything. So then, continue. So he ends up going to a pub and no one's speaking to him, and it's like he's like, "Where's the orgies? Because I'm here to experience it."
Exactly. So he then meets Trudy, who's like I guess bionic lady. I don't know. She's got like rockets out of her shoulders, and she has a magic rose that heals. And she has 2 friends there at the bar who get referenced, I think, like Dave and Bird, or I can't remember their names. And when she talks about setting up her sort of spiritual center in the beginning, she says that she only ever had 2 people at the beginning, and they're the sort of Dave and whatever.
Yeah.
So she kind of refers back to that and about this little center she creates. So it's a bit confusing because you have 2 parallel stories. I mean, you have the sort of the interview, which is pretty normal about normal things, and then really without any sort of real connection. Well, there is connection, but then you have the actual plot of the series, and they don't always match up super well. So yeah, but what I found funny was that like when she was talking a lot about forgiveness, she was trying to get revenge. I mean, the whole story is about revenge too. So there's a bit of irony in that, because she's trying to get revenge on her boyfriend, the ass wizard has captured, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just funny because you get this kind of irony. But it's such a shame we didn't watch episode 5, because this episode 5 is about an existential prison cell where someone's made to relive their lives over and over again until they kind of realize that reality doesn't matter. So I do think we should watch that one, and we should talk about that another time.
Yeah, okay. I can watch it before next episode, so we can talk about it. It can be like a part 2.
Yeah.
But the end of episode 4, so he gets rocketed back to the real world, of him being in this weird spaceship thing. He dies, and he experiences the pain and joy of death, the computer says. So you were, taken to this planet to experience everything, including the pain and joyousness of death.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So the computer's a bit of a motherfucker. Just pretty funny.
Yeah, and the computer is sort of a main theme. So in each episode, the computer basically gets worse and worse and worse. And so that there's a sort of stories, like an arch story that connects all the episodes, but you can watch them one at a time and not be too out of the loop.
Yeah.
It all starts with Clancy at his house, listening to music. He plugs into the simulator, which is like a giant vagina, puts his head in it, and then goes to different planets. But yeah, it's what I wrote some notes down. Let me see what I wrote down if there's anything interesting. I'll just talk about episode 4, seeing it's the only one we both.
Yeah, sorry.
I like the description of meditation is practicing for death, life, and to listen. And the stuff about listening and connection and needing support at the beginning, I thought was really nice. So he talks about, and also that story that Clancy tells about, or I guess Duncan tells about somebody, like telling them about all these different technology or something really specific at a party. This one guy like corners in the room and just like talks at him. He doesn't realize that this guy just really wants to leave the conversation. Then he learns later that guy died either that night or later in the week, and he felt so bad because one of the last conversations he had was just being spoken to about some geeky topic that he loved. And I just thought that was really cool that that we should be aware of like listening properly and being more in touch with other people and that connection. I thought it was a nice episode.
Yeah, I like it. I don't think you have to badge it with mindfulness or whatever, though, like that retail side of alternative religions. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just an easy buzzword, though. It's kind of a
concept. Just reminds me of buying books at Kmart on the way of the checkout, the dot books and mindfulness books.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Paint your own mandala in 2 minutes or less.
Yeah. Yeah, so we might watch a couple more episodes because there's another one that I really like about the death industry and about how the main character talks about how the death industry really removed a sort of aspect of grief that we no longer get to experience, so that the whole sort of preparing the corpse and things, normally that wake process would happen in people's houses in the old days, and they'd have time to really mourn. But now that industry's been removed, so it's all about loss and grief. So I think that's quite cool as well.
I agree with that.
Any other comments?
No, I think it's a little bit disjointed, and I think what episode 4 was disjointed with, and what I've since read, is that it was a standalone podcast before and it's been cut to the show. Because you're right, there are these two things and it's interlaced, and it just becomes like an interrupted, disjointed conversation in certain parts of it. But I get that's the thing, and I'm used to that sort of things. Like I used to watch Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, so that was done similar. It was run by a comedian who interviews 2 comedians, and then you've got him on the couch with the 2 comedians interlaced with the episode, plus you've got the interaction between the therapist, Dr. Katz, and his son, which is H. John Benjamin. And so they've got this storyline going on as well. So it's like these little bits all jammed together. And and you get the comedian's bits that they're saying to Dr. Katz during different parts, but there's no real large aspect or topic that's being discussed with Dr. Katz in that way. Whereas this way, there is this thing that you're trying to actually follow along, but then it just gets interrupted. So I think actually episode 3 worked better than 4, even though 3 the guy was annoying. 4, I think it just didn't it wasn't cut well or something. I don't know.
It is very distracting because sometimes the animation, I think, melts really nicely with the words, but other times it was really distracting. And you know, when we watch, because I normally love a visual addition to words, like I'm a very visual person, but you know, when we did Allen Ginsberg Hal, and we watched the movie. There's all that amazing animation, and that I could really do both at the same time. I could listen and I could watch, and it wasn't distracting because the images are really adding to the words. But there are sections in this where I have to go, okay, listen to the words now, or I'll go, no, watch the animation now, and I can't always do both. So it does make it a bit fractured.
Yeah, and the animation, like Adventure Time, is way over the top. It's like it's very visual in your face, but then it's also there's the other hidden elements like in the background and stuff. So it is kind of cool. But yeah, you're right. I think that maybe it's because we've concentrated on the episodes which are pod episodes, because the later ones they're not. At least I couldn't find like 5, 6, 7. I don't think were podcast episodes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like it. I think that's true. Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah. I think it was a good addition. But I think it's going to be made or broken depending on who the interviewee is, or the subject interview is. And if you get one that's shit, then it's going to be garbage. But
no, definitely. But I just like it, kind of hearing and listening to and the same with when I listen to the podcast, like more about mindfulness and things, without it being, I guess, as pretentious. And it still is a little bit, but like just in a bit more of a down to earth way, because I do find part of me always tunes out a little bit with mindfulness and things, because it's just all a bit like you get beaten over the head with it. And you know, as a religious studies scholar, you sort of look at it a little bit like, you know, new religious movement stuff is a bit, you know, a bit blur. And so it has helped me re-engage a little bit with it, because I've always felt much like an outsider, you know what I mean? Like, oh no, I don't do that. Like, so I have enjoyed kind of listening and watching it in a different context. So I think if people are interested a little bit in that mindfulness and they like the animation style and you're a fan of Adventure Time, I think you'll like it.
Yeah. And I think it's a good retail way of exploring alternative religions, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And he is a very dynamic and likable voice actor. He's got this almost childlike voice, but you look at pictures of him, he's like old with a beard, but he has this, like, to me it sounds like he's like 15 or something. It's like, oh, hey there guys, how you doing?
And he's drawn pretty young looking in the show as well, I think. But it's funny.
Definitely. So this might be a short episode then, mightn't it?
Ours?
Yeah, how long have we been episoding?
I have no idea. How long do we talk about racist people for? I don't know.
Wow.
That doesn't really matter. I think that's it for that. Unless you wanted to say anything more?
I wish I had exciting news to share, but I really didn't do anything all week. My life is just wake up, do the PhD, have a break, do the PhD, have a break, do the PhD.
Yeah.
Have you got much PhD work done?
Nothing at all. Great. I have heard, though, that I think that Newcastle is going to be running the unit again next semester.
That's great.
Which is good, seeing that it earns the university a lot of money to do it, so it kind of makes sense to do that.
So you get a bit of teaching that way then.
Hopefully. So I got my application in for that, which is nice. So that has to go for sign off with the people. But also my position is funded externally, because Tim has got external funding, and then that external funding goes towards some of his teaching hours. So those teaching hours then get applied. So whether I get it next year or not, I don't know. But for this semester, it's pretty good news. And then the business is very busy anyway, so that's probably work that I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
But
you're good for cash though. You're in a good position.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean,
you're in an okay position.
Yeah, we're not going to lose the house, so that's good. Yeah. But it's a worry. Like, what's happening in Victoria? Like, things go backwards like real quickly.
They do. It's very true. Well, that's good that you're focusing so much on online stuff then, right?
Yeah. And the tournament's coming back is great, but we're doing a lot of card trades and selling a lot of card stock to people. So people just want to play cards in their homes, which is great.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is sad about Victoria. I still don't fully understand why it got so bad so quickly. And I was not because of the Black Lives Matter protest. Everyone's like, nah, Black Lives Matter protest. And like,
no.
Statistically, it was.
Apparently it was the hotels where someone was. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Well, I spoke to a Victorian today on the phone. So he's one of my suppliers, and he called me up just to see how things are and let me know that he can still send out stuff, which is cool. Apparently, one of the guards there was sleeping with someone inside the hotel. Yeah. And then got corona, and then that spread to someone else, then that spread to someone else, and it's like gone that way.
Yeah, but we still have community transmission, but it's not like that, right? Like, I mean, if we have one case, how could it spread so quick?
We have tracked community transmission. They have untracked community transmission. So they've got,
so they don't know.
Yeah, a pocket of people that have got it somewhere which is not connected to anyone else. And that's a worry because that means that there's other people in the community. Whereas New South Wales, basically everyone is, they know where they got it from.
Yeah. I saw a post about the Tetris thing on 89. I didn't read it properly though.
Yeah, PAL Tetris competition is going to be back on in October, hopefully. Yep. I don't know if I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll train for it. I don't know. I'm going to interview someone that's there, and the feeling is amongst the community, they all feel exactly the same way as well. Like whether they're going to go or not, they're not sure. Everyone's pretty dirty about it being PAL. And
being what?
PAL, not NTSC. So we want to compete like the top 40 players in Australia. So I'd be amongst that, just probably. Maybe not now. I don't know. I haven't practiced for a while. But yeah, say the top 40, top 50 people. They want to compete on the world stage equal to what everyone else is doing. Now, you have two different regions. So you have NTSC and PAL. Now, PAL games are roughly 13% slower than the NTSC counterparts. To compensate that, Nintendo took out frames of animation in a lot of their games, which means the games are actually harder in PAL because you can't control the game because it goes by the same speed. It looks like it's the same speed on the TV to an untrained eye, but once you're actually playing it on a proper TV or trying to control things at a high speed, you can't because you don't have enough speed to press the button to get the pieces across in PAL. So in PAL, the max out was, say, 600. Or theoretical max out was actually 400 up until last year, and now it's about 600,000. In NTSC, it's like 1.1 million.
Wow. So it's a lot harder.
It's a huge difference. Yeah, huge difference. So with NTSC, I can get 300, 400,000, no worries. With PAL, it depends. Like it really, and it depends on the TVs as well. And the TVs that we used were not the greatest as well. So you have to, like, if you're going to run a competition for people at that high level and say that it's a classic Tetris World Championship, which has got a lot of esteem and it's got a lot of following, and it comes out of the Donkey Kong classics. I saw how things were done up in Queensland for Kong Off, where it's proper Donkey Kong cabinets, all with proper boards, all with proper buttons and proper mechs, and they're all identical, and it makes sense. In Sydney, where 1989 was doing it, it's been a little bit rushed each time, and it shouldn't be up to Benn to do all of that stuff. If it's going to be wrong...
sorry. That was my battery. My bad.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Yeah, it shouldn't be up to Benn to run all that stuff. Like if it's being run by some people in the CTWC world, they should be stepping in and providing 2 TVs which are similar and 2 consoles which are the same.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not hard. Yeah. So
anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, well, it'll probably get to a week before, and I'll be like, yes, I'm going. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of work. At the moment, I'm looking actually for a Nintendo that's going to be RGB modded, so I can train on it properly. Yeah, that's going to be expensive.
Cool, man. All right, I better go because my battery's about to run out of battery.
All right.
Bye. Thanks for listening, guys at home.
All right. I will see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Ciao. Bye.